Welcome to the Healthy Heroes podcast. My name is Felicia Menchaca, and I have a passion for helping others find health and happiness. Each week, I will pour inspiration, advice, and inspiring interviews to live your best life. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 17. And I am so excited. Tonight, it is not going to be about me talking. It's going to be about these amazing moms that I have asked to speak. I am just so blessed to know them. They are amazing moms. These beautiful ladies, I can't even describe how much they have each touched me, how much they are each there for me in my journey. And I have just come to each and every one of them about advice, tips, support, and they really just display grace and love. Today, each of these amazing mamas have prepared tips for their children or child's age, and they're going to share with you through all categories. We're going to talk from pregnancy, baby, toddler, preschool, school age, teenage, and adulthood, because even adults need their mamas. One thing I have learned about motherhood is never be ashamed to ask other moms for tips. My hope for everyone listening to this interview tonight is that each or every one of these mamas will touch you in tips. And maybe they'll touch you right now, but maybe you'll hear a tip that you might carry on in the future, and you'll remember that one of these mamas said that I was going to go through this in this childhood, in this generation. And I hope that you will continue to grow your motherhood. Motherhood is not easy whatsoever. We are all great moms, and we are all doing the best we can. And each child is so different. So let's get started. I'm going to introduce our first mother. She's amazing. Her name is Alexis. She's a Zumba instructor. She's partnered with USANA, and she owns her own lawn services company. It's called ASC Lawn Care. And I met this amazing woman, and I can't imagine life without her. Lexi, are you there?
I am here.
And I might cry a little bit through this episode because I'm a big but every one of y'all know me. But Lexi, I am so grateful for you. I know that you are just coming into motherhood. And yes, she's pregnant, guys. She's pregnant. Where are you from, Lexi?
I am from Aurora, Illinois, so far from where you are, but so glad that we have been able to connect through work and life and love and friendship.
Oh, yes, definitely. So, Lexi, you're pregnant, right? How has that been? What are your tips for pregnancy?
So this has definitely been a journey. I really had to talk myself into doing this, like becoming a mom and, getting pregnant. And I am really glad that there are so many other awesome and amazing women on this call, because I just feel like there's just so much that I just want to take in. I am about to be 35. I'll be 35 next month. And I am pregnant with my first baby. And since I was younger, I have two siblings. So one's like 28 and one is 18. And I'm really close to my parents. I'm really close to my mom. And so when my mom was in labor, when she was pregnant, when she was in labor with my youngest brother, I was a junior in high school. And so I wanted to be there and I wanted to be a part of it. And I was, and it was amazing. But I was in that delivery room with her and I saw literally child coming out of womb type of situation. And I didn't realize how much it was going to terrify me in terms of the physical act of labor. I was I didn't even realize it when I was there. It was exciting and it was amazing, and it's life. And let me tell you guys, my mom is a beast also. She had no epidural, she didn't scream and swear, and she wasn't crazy and flying off the handles. She was the type of one who they were like, hey, your mom's having contractions. We just wanted to let you know. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. I got up and I got ready and I brushed my teeth and I got ready to go to the hospital. And it was the middle of the night and I come back out and everyone's like back asleep. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Where, like, I thought we were going to the hospital. And they're like, oh, it's just starting. We just wanted to let you know. She's just going to get some rest for now. And then in the morning she got up and she took a shower and she straightened her hair and she was like putting on makeup. Like, I mean, if I had to watch, if there was like a good person to watch go through labor, my mom was definitely it. But somewhere down the road, I think just as we become adults and we like fall into this whole like comparison thing and we let fear like take over the better parts of our brain sometimes. I just got super scared of the fact of like, man, I've always said that labor is like a child crawling, like clawing, not crawling, clawing its way out of your vagina. That is what I had like.
Exactly how it is.
Right? Like that is what I envisioned every time. And then on top of that, I just am like, I might be a little bit of a control freak. Right?
Aren't we all? Everybody on this call.
I think so. It just as women, even, I feel like it's just ingrained in us. But I was like very overwhelmed by the thought of like, there's a whole like tiny human being that I am going to be personally responsible for. And how am I ever going to protect this child from all of the things that could happen to it, you know, like little things that you can control to things that you can't control, like sickness. And, you know, and it's just, there's so many unknowns that I've always been just really terrified of this whole act of just becoming pregnant and becoming a mother. And, you know, I'm getting older, so I'm running out of time to be able to actually do that. And so I really had to kind of plan it out and get my head like mentally ready to allow myself to do this and to like walk down this journey with my husband. And so I think that I would say for like a first pregnancy tip would be to just like enjoy the moments that you can, because not all of them are peachy. I think we all know that.
No, they are not. Throwing up in the toilet and stuffing your face. You're like, why?
Yeah, what is happening? Yeah, your body is definitely not your own for, you know, a good 10 months. I don't know why people say 9 months, because this thing is lasting for 10 months. That's a little myth right there. So if anyone's not pregnant yet, haven't experienced that, there's a little tip for you. Just get that in your brain. But just enjoy the moments that you can. I was really lucky to not have any like morning sickness. I legit, like, I haven't thrown up once this entire pregnancy. I didn't walk around nauseous.
You are lucky.
I really, really was. And so I feel like I didn't really like feel like horrible side effects, not like horror. I don't mean to sound like horrible side effects, but you know, a lot of people really do like feel bad with all the stuff that they have at first. And I feel like I just rocked like the first 7.5 months of being pregnant. And then my body just started to get too big for what I could handle. I'm like 5'2" on a good day. There's not a lot of space for this baby to grow.
I'm not wearing heels.
Exactly.
Which I have not been wearing heels these past 9 months.
I certainly have not. Yeah. And I feel like I just got to the point where I just got frustrated with my body and not being able to do what I want it to do, because I really enjoy working out and being active. And so, you know, you get frustrated by things that you can no longer do, maybe the same that you expected it to. So I would say just enjoy all the moments that you can when you're feeling good, or the little things. I laugh at the ridiculous things like pregnancy brain, because that thing is real.
Yeah.
I am not even kidding you. Half the time I'll like walk upstairs and be like, what the heck did I even just come up here for? I have no idea. Not only did I forget what I came up here for, but now I'm out of breath because I have, you know, like this extra 40 pounds on my body that I like try to run up the stairs, and your body's like, no, bro, you can't really run up the stairs anymore right now.
Hey, 40 pounds is good. That's awesome. And you're almost due.
I am almost due. I am 38 weeks right now. So at any point, we could do this thing.
Yep. I think you're going to go maybe not this week, next week.
I would be okay with that. I'd be okay with going a little early at this point. Like getting in and out of bed is a whole workout of itself. My ankles are super fat. I got carpal tunnel in my right hand from just like the swelling and pinched nerves and stuff. So those are the things that like right now I'm like, okay, all right, I'm ready. I'm done. Like I'm done with this. Let's move on to the next phase. Which is still going to be terrifying. But I would also say stay as active as you can for as long as you can. Like whatever you were doing, like for workouts or for what your hobbies were, like do all of those things for as long as you can, because I feel like those were the things that also just gave me an opportunity to make me feel like me again. I love working out, and I literally just stopped working out this last week because I had a little high blood pressure episode where my doctor sent me to the hospital to go get monitored, and I was not happy about it. But
Yeah, that's
also,
where they put those straps on your belly, right? And you have to sit
yes,
there for hours. I had that done to me. So y'all know, Lexi was like shaking it in February, like Zumba, shaking her belly, like no other. I was like, whoa.
yes. Yes, I am a Zumba instructor, so that I, teach a couple classes a couple times a week, and then I work out just for myself over at Orange Theory. So it was really, here's the thing that threw me off about, having to go with the high blood pressure, because I went in and let me tell you, I felt completely fine that day. Like, there are days when you're like, man, I'm just a little out of breath more, or she's sitting on my lungs or whatever, but I felt completely fine that day. So when she was like, oh man, your blood pressure is really high, it's never been this high, we're gonna have to send you over to the hospital. And I was like in shock. And then they said when they were releasing me, they were like, okay, you're good. You passed the test. You can go. Also, just so you know, it's really good. Like if you had one more reading above 140, then we were going to have to take you back for a C-section. I was like,
oh my God, this baby's coming. Or,
yeah,
oh my gosh,
like, it was really like, all of a sudden it hit me. Like, first of all, how crazy it is that like I felt fine and we were this close to having a C-section. So obviously something wasn't fine. So that was a little bit worrisome. So I did stop working out last week just so that I don't do something that could obviously be harmful or put us, at risk of doing that again. But to my third tip then, I would say would just make sure that when you're taking care of your body, you're staying active, and give yourself good nutrition and good supplements. And everyone says, when you're pregnant, you're eating for two, or the baby wants this, or you're craving that. And I would be a super hypocrite if I said that I have not, eaten some cake or gone to get, oh my gosh, my town got a new cupcake place and over here. So it's amazing. Had one of those yesterday. So I'm not saying like don't indulge, but I mean, you don't have to just go willy-nilly and not eat foods that are going to be nutritious for your body, because holy cow, like I said, this body is not not just yours anymore for 10 months. And there's so much going on. And I feel like one of the reasons why I had such a good pregnancy all the way up to the point where I'm just frustrated with my size now is because I did focus on good nutrition, and I did focus on good supplements. And I think that helped me out a ton just to fuel my body for everything that it needed to do while it was making it a whole entire other human.
I totally agree. And I know what supplements you fueled your energy with. And I wouldn't have been able to get through my pregnancy either. Everything you said is right on. And I thank you for sharing, Lexi. Now, what is one way how you've been preparing for this baby? Is the room ready?
The room is ready. Let me tell you, I am logistically, I'm ready. And so that's, I think, part of my control freak coming out, right? Logistically, I am ready. The room is ready. It's super cute. It's woodland themed. And my husband was also super cute. Like the way that he nested is in he likes to fix things. So when I say he likes to fix things, we live in a house, an old house, built in 1920, I think. So our walls are all plaster. So I told my husband that we were pregnant, and then he ripped down all of the walls in that room, all the plaster, all the lath, took out the windows, installed new windows, put in new insulation, it's like the best room in the house.
It's the best room. That baby better appreciate that room.
Exactly.
You are
exactly. So we had fun putting it together. Room is ready. Car seat is in, locked and loaded. Hospital bags are right by the door. Yeah, we're ready. I mean, I read some. I don't think I finished like one of the pregnancy books that people gave me, but I read a little bit. I would say, like, for people like trying to prepare themselves. Wow, did you hear that? That's a little bit of pregnancy body too. I tried to say prepare like 18 times. I would just say also, like, just guard yourself with what you take in, because everyone and their mothers, babies, daddies, sisters, aunts, girlfriend is going to give you like their advice or their delivery story and I don't know why people only like to tell like the horror delivery stories. I'm like, why are you telling me this? Why are you putting this out into the universe in my direction? I don't want to hear like how you were in labor for 82 hours. But just
I'm with you with that. The only delivery story that terrified me was my mom's, because she had my brother and sister my brother's 18 years apart from me. So I was like a teenager, right? So I saw her go through it. That was enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to hear anybody else's.
Yeah, I am telling you, it's just oof. And then like sometimes you will ask for advice and then get way too much. So I think I did ask, there's a couple of people that I, trust their opinions and like the research that I know that they did for stuff. And though that's the advice that I sought out. But even then, even with getting their answers back, I think you just kind of have to, like with everything else, like sift through it, just go with what fits well with you and what you think is going to work. Because honestly, I can say, yes, I'm ready. Like logistically, I'm ready. But man, first time mom, I have only raised 2 Rottweilers. So I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going to work. I don't know what I'm going to love. Maybe something's going to work for me that didn't work for something else. So I think just learning to get my mind ready to give myself grace with this.
So what is your quote for motherhood or pre-pregnancy journey or pregnancy journey? What do you have out there for us?
I was looking, because thank God you gave us a little bit of a heads up. And I was like, well, shoot, I don't really have a motherhood quote yet, because I haven't really quite experienced this motherhood outside of my body yet. So I was looking for some, and I found 2 that really resonated with me. And the first one is, motherhood is a million little moments that God weaves together with grace, redemption, laughter, tears, and most of all, love. And I just feel like that kind of just sums everything up with just, how I was telling you that I have been terrified of becoming a mom and not knowing if I, could really pull it off and be responsible for a human. And I think that just is really it. Like it's just all of these little moments, grace and redemption. I feel like mothers need that all the time, every single day, probably. Laughter, tears, and most of all, love. And I think that love is what is just going to drive you to the next day. And so I really, really liked that. And then the other one that I also really liked is one that said, all your kids want is you. Not the fit mom, not the Pinterest mom, not the PTA mom, not every other mom that you think you should be. All they want is you. So be the happiest you there ever was. And I think that is just awesome, because we just live in such a day and age where we're constantly bombarded with all of these images of everyone's perfect version of themselves. And then we tend to doubt like who we are and what we're doing, and compare ourselves to other people and to other mothers and to other children, and start to compare our children to their children. And I just think that, that's just so true. All your kids want is you, just the best version of you. And that's going to be, that's the best mom that you can be. So those are my 2 favorite quotes.
And you know what? I totally agree, man. Like the best thing you can do is just do you and be your mom. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I appreciate you and we love you. The next
I love you.
I love you too, boo.
Love you. Bye.
Next amazing woman that I'm going to bring on. And I don't only say she's amazing because she's my sister-in-law, but she's just absolutely amazing as a mother, as a wife, as a runner, and as a friend. My sister-in-law has become one of my best friends that I have become friends with. She's a social worker. She's partnered with USANA, and she's also has her own podcast that she's a host on with the Confidence Creators. Stephanie, are you there?
I am here.
Yay! So, Stephanie, can you tell me where you are from?
Yes, I am from San Antonio, Texas.
Oh,
the beautiful, hot city.
yes. And it's raining hot and everything right now. But Stephanie, can you tell me how old your children are right now?
So I have a 19-month-old boy, and I am currently 21 weeks pregnant.
Oh my goodness. So she's going to have two little ones that are going to be on their feet quite busy.
Yes, it will be an interesting time within the next couple of years.
You're going to do great. I believe in you. So what are your tips for moms that have a toddler and that are pregnant as well? You can go into both topics.
Okay, so I want to say the number one tip that I can give to moms with toddlers is to just don't make plans. Like, just go with the flow with however your kid is acting, because I think being a type of person before I had kids, with being a planner, being always wanting, be on time to places, that has completely gone out the window, and I just have to accept that. Like, I have a child who I am at beck and call, and I need to be available to him. And so that is just where I am. And I had to accept that, being the type of personality that I have, I had to let go of those things and be like, okay, like, you know what, we're not going to make this party on time, or we're not going to be here on time, or I'm going to be late to work, or, this thing is happening, or I'm not going to be able to go to this because of my son. So putting up that for sure has been something that has helped me, and definitely a tip that I give to moms. And I think another thing is, the next tip that I would definitely give is just to have fun, have so much fun, and live in the moment with your child, because you don't get to have all of that growing so fast. And I just always felt like I didn't want to miss out on those types of things, and just value that time that I had with my baby.
I think you've done a really good job with that. And I've seen you be okay with being late to things.
Oh, yes. Definitely had to let that one go for sure.
I didn't understand why I was always late.
Yes. Yes, I definitely appreciate that more for people when they're like, well, my kids, or I can't make it because of my kids. Like, I understand completely now.
So how has it been getting ready? I know, like, Lorenzo's a toddler, so you're getting ready to have another one, and that's something that's like different for every mom, but you're having close, like, year by year. How have you gotten prepared for the new baby that's coming?
I actually don't feel as prepared as I was for Lorenzo, my first one, just because I kind of am like, okay, well, I did it already the first time. Like, I have so much more confidence now this time around than I did with Lorenzo. So I don't feel like I'm so stressed about things now. I'm kind of like, okay, well, we can wait till I get further along to buy some of the stuff. So I think that has really helped. The fact that, we had a baby not too long ago. Now that we're having the second baby, it almost feels like, okay, I feel a little bit more comfortable and at ease knowing, all right, I just gotta wait to see what happens and kind of just go with the flow of it.
You'll be able to give us advice on two little ones sooner.
I can give advice now. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna. It's a lot of trial and error, that's for sure.
That is awesome. I can't wait to see. And Lorenzo is my cute little nephew. He's so cute. And I have no doubt that you're going to make another cute little, do you want to share what you're having?
Yes, we're having another boy, which is also a reason why probably I feel so much more confident, because I'm like, I did it already once. I could do it again. Like, I know what I'm doing with the boy.
There you go. There you go. All right, Stephanie, do you want to share your favorite motherhood quote with us?
Yes, I do. And this one's kind of a funny one. So my quote that I chose is, don't be so hard on yourself. The mom in ET had an alien living in her house for days and she didn't even notice. So I just, just to kind of give moms out there that relief that we're all going to mess up. We're all going to have those moments where it's not going to work out the way we planned, and that's okay. It's going to be another day. and we just got to keep moving forward.
I could not agree more with that quote. Oh my goodness, you hit it right on, Stephanie. So, thank you, Stephanie, for sharing, and we look forward to your journey. And Megan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. I'm cooking and I got 3 kids underneath me. So
Megan's in full mom life.
Yes, that's fine. Okay, I'll be right back. Yes, I am. I'm every day like that.
So, Megan, can you tell us how old are your kids? Where are you from?
I am from a little town south of San Antonio called Jordanton, Texas. It's a little country town. Well, it's not that little. We have a Walmart. I think the next thing we're hoping for is a Chick-fil-A. So we'll be legit when that happens. I have 3 children, the ages of 12, 10, and my 4-year-old's about to be 5 on Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm super busy.
So, Megan, what would be your tips for that age group?
Oh my gosh. Listening to Alexis and Stephanie, it's like I remember those days when that was me in that position, and all my kids are older, and so it's hard because we're constantly on the go. We are all over the place. My daughter dances, my son's in band, my youngest is in T-ball right now. So it's a nonstop life. I don't get dinner on the table every single day. We go grab pizza, we eat out, and so my kids argue constantly. And I think it's just the preteen age, and my daughter just turned 10 as well. So I think that, like Stephanie and Alexis said, is just you have to give yourself grace in those moments. I know that we all strive to be the perfect mother. We want to make sure everything's ready and supper on the table by this time, and kids are in bed by this time, and they're all bathed and whatnot at certain times. But when we fail at one of those, or we fail at other things that we wish we could accomplish during the day, it's just you've got to stop and you've got to breathe and give yourself some grace, because nobody is perfect. And I know moms out there want to be the best moms they can be, and that's wonderful. And sometimes we fail, like as mothers. Sometimes I apologize to my kids when I get upset with them and I'm yelling at them and they're like, Mom, you're scaring me. And I'm sorry for acting that way. And our kids see us the way we are, and if they want to see us a certain way, they're going to see us a certain way. But what we portray and what we comes out of our mouth really affects them. So I really try to be careful with my words, and I totally pick my fights. Like, if my kid doesn't want to brush his teeth one morning and he is screaming and crying and jumping up and down, I'm just like, okay, fine, we're not brushing our teeth this morning. So I know that probably sounds kind of gross, but or cleaning, or cleaning their rooms, or like cleaning their rooms is not. They have to do that. They have to do that. But picking your battles I think is important, because sometimes I feel like as moms we get so stressed out over the little things, and the little things can just kind of be pushed away for just a little bit, and then we can worry about the bigger stuff. Does that make sense?
No, it totally does. And you know what? You're not alone with sometimes you need a break with your kids too, and you see stuff.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry. Or they're like, why, Mom, did you tell me?
Yeah.
Like,
and
leave
also
me alone.
too,
I'm having a nervous breakdown right now.
Okay. But it's constantly saying, I think the kids say mom, like all together. I have 3 of them, and I think the word mom comes it's probably like maybe 200 times, probably more a day. And that's just because they're home in the evening. But also what's important too is that I'm constantly surrounded and by our kids. I work at the local fitness facility here in town, and they go to school during the day, and that's my time away from the mother part, the mother role that I have to play in the evenings. And so I think that it's important too to give yourself some me time. I don't think it's selfish. I feel like if you are trying to fill their cups or fill anyone's cups, and yourself is empty, then you have nothing to give. So I feel like if you keep your cup full, then you can keep other cups full. You know what I mean? Like, if you're empty, you can't give anything else. If you're empty, you can't give anything away. And so I think an important part is to have some me time, whether it's having a spa day or sitting and reading a book or going to the park and walking on the track at the park, or it could be anything, going out for ice cream or going out for sushi with a girlfriend or going shopping. And I feel like, oh, some moms are just like, oh, I don't have time for that. But it's about making time for things like that for yourself. If you value yourself and you value your time, you would totally give yourself some mommy time or me time.
Awesome, Megan. Thank you so much. And what is your favorite motherhood quote?
Oh my gosh. Well, we went to, I'm sorry, my kids are yelling.
You're fine. You're showing true motherhood right now, and I love it. Let me tell you,
I'm on the phone, please. I went to a women's conference at the beginning of the year, and all they talked about was grace. And so my favorite quote right now is it's called grace upon grace upon grace upon grace upon grace. So when I'm not perfect and I can't get it together or I fail at something, I just say that grace upon grace upon grace upon grace, because we have to give grace to ourselves, or we will never ever, accept the fact that sometimes we fail, and in life we are going to fail. I probably fail every single day as a mother, but I give myself grace, and I remember that God sees me the way He sees me. He sees me as a perfect being. And so if I can just give myself grace during this whole mothering process, then I'll be okay. My kids will be okay, my husband will be okay, and I'll be okay.
You just gave me goosebumps. And like I said, each and every one of y'all has shown what grace is as a mother. And I got a little excited introducing Megan, but she is a personal trainer at Athletic Center, and she's partnered with USANA. And as you can tell, she's an amazing mother that gives
thank you.
her grace. And I can't thank you for sharing with us tonight.
No problem. It was my pleasure. I actually feel like important because you asked me to come on and talk.
You are very important in my life. You're a strong mother that I look up to daily.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye, kids. The next person I'm going to move on is to Carol. And Carol, oh my gosh, where do I put into how of amazing person she is? She shows grace and love and just support for other women. She's a Camp Gladiator instructor. She works from home. And I'm going to bring her on so she can tell you the rest about her life. Carol, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So, Carol, what are your children's ages?
Well, I have two sons, and my older son is 21, and my younger child is 6. He just turned 6, so it's a huge difference between the two.
Oh, your kids are actually like me and my brother and my sister, but I think that comes in handy. What would you say? Like, my mom has really used me as an idol, and the kids have really looked up to me, and I've taught the example. So is that how it kind of works with your boys?
Well, yeah. I mean, and for me, I grew up in a family of 7 kids, or 7 of us total, all together, and we all were born within 10 years. So literally, we're just a year and a few months apart. Most of us, so we grew up just with a really large family and just really close in age. And it was just completely different than, of course, me with my boys. And so I really, it's been just really different for me as far as like raising the two, and completely, like, Nathan literally had just graduated high school at 18, and then Jonathan started pre-K early at 3 that same year. And I was like, who does that? Graduates one and literally starts another one, like, completely all over. But I definitely see that, like, there's a they were really close when the baby was born, and I guess it being that they're boys, it's a little different, because I think for girls it comes a little more natural. And, so Nathan was scared, and he was 15, 16 when I had Jonathan, and I would tell him, you need to hold him because I'm going to go take a shower, or I need you to help me. And he would just be so scared. And he was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And I would have to be like calming him down. Like, it's okay.
You're like, make sure he's just breathing.
Yes, that's it. Just don't that, it's been interesting, but he definitely, as he's been growing, he definitely has a respect for his big brother. And, sometimes if, my older son, Nathan, will come to me if the little one is not really listening to him, or he'll tell me, you know what, I tried to correct him and he's not having a good attitude. So, I'll sit and talk with him and tell him, look, when your brother corrects you, it's just like if mommy was correcting you, your brother's an adult, especially. So he's talking to you, he's trying to give you, um, trying to ask you to just calm down, settle down. And that's usually what it is. Cause the older one is the more, the quiet, introverted, just very calm and very shy personality. And Jonathan, the younger one, is the opposite, very tenacious and very, very testy and very, curious and inquisitive and all these things. So they, their personalities clash a little bit, but Nathan is definitely the very protective big brother. And so it's an interesting relationship.
I hear you on that. I think about
Yeah.
my brother and my sister's relationship, and I'm definitely the more like loud and outgoing, and my brother's very preserved, and my sister's just very quiet. And then I look at my kids, because Serenity and Reginald are they're far apart in age. Serenity is 12 and Reginald is 5. So she's kind of been the big helper, kind of like Nathan has,
Right.
And it's kind of like we've told Reginald, listen to your sister, stick with your sister. Serenity, we're like, make sure you watch your brother, things like that. And I hear you on those age difference. But in my opinion, I think having kids in a distance has kind of helped like me as a mom. Like, it's kind of like Serenity is like a mini mom, or like you would think about it, Jonathan's like a mini father to, like
Nathan, right, right.
Yeah, Nathan's a mini father to Jonathan. It's crazy. And I think more or less what Serenity has been shown, and she tells me, is responsibility. So
Right.
I think us moms that have kids in that huge age difference is just kind of like amazing, because we get to see the kids grow together, even though they have a huge age difference. So
right.
my
Yeah,
next
and I've slipped a couple of times and called him and said your son instead of your brother, or like something like that. And Nathan's like, Mom, don't say that. I'm like, it just came out. I mean, as it is, a lot of people, if you look at my pictures, a lot of people think that's my husband or my boyfriend, and I'm like, no, that they're both my sons. But he's tall, he's a lot taller than me.
Good for your age.
Well, thank you. I'll take that any day.
Yes. So how's it been having 2 boys? Just 2 boys in general. I think you're the first person that I interviewed tonight that just has 2 boys.
The first boy mom. I've always wanted a girl. So for me, I always feel like, why didn't I ever have a girl? But that's one thing that now I tell Nathan, now that he's older. I'm like, well, not right now, but maybe later. I would love to have a granddaughter. And he's like, stop it, stop it. I'm like, I need a girl. I need a girl in my life. I mean, it's been awesome. I mean, like I said, I've always wanted girls, and I've always had that part of me that loves like doing the hair and the makeup and the dress up and all of that. I'm like a little bit of both. Like I love being outdoors. That's why I'm with Camp Gladiator. I love working out outdoors. I love just doing things out of the box. I love getting dirty and doing mud runs and doing all that kind of stuff. But I'm also like, I like to dress up and I like to be girly and I like to, buy girly things and all that stuff. So I kind of have always had that question, like, why didn't I ever have a girl? That's not really fair. But boys, I mean, my sons are just amazing, and to learn a lot. Some interesting moments along the way where I'm like, I can't believe I just did that or said that, or I have no idea how to handle, certain questions or certain things. Nate and I have a very open relationship where we talk about pretty much everything, and Nathan and Jonathan is the same way, where he'll hear something or ask a question. What does this mean? What does that mean? And sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know if you're ready for that, or do I even answer that, or how do I answer that? But I think it's awesome because even though I'm female, of course, and I'm a single mom, I think we can still have that close relationship and that open relationship as they're growing up and the different phases of their lives as well.
That's awesome, Carol. And what would be your motherhood quote?
Well, as far as my motherhood quote, God, there's so many, and even the ones that I heard from the other ladies are amazing. And one that I really love is actually scripture. It's Proverbs 31:31, and it says, "Honor her for the work of her hands, and let her work bring her praise." And the reason I chose that is because I think as moms, I mean, we really don't expect any kind of recognition. I know we're not daily like, oh, I want people to notice, or I want people to, we love our kids, and we want to, like I heard one of the other ladies just say, we want to just be the best version of ourselves. We want to every day be a better mom and a better everything in our lives. But I think sometimes, to be honest, we do sometimes feel like, does anyone ever, even notice everything that I do? And I think that there are definitely things that our kids will never know that we do for them, the sacrifices that we make, or the tears that we cry, the struggles that we have along the way. And some they will, maybe later in life, or things like that. But I think that one always reminds me, what God sees. And even if no one else, may realize or understand, all the stress that I carry, as a mom, and my personal life as a single mom, and some of those things that, I can only take to him sometimes. I feel like, what, that my reward is in you, and in being a mom, I feel like that's just my greatest calling, so I love that, because like he's flat out in his words says, honor her. So it's like he honors us for everything that we do, especially as mothers. So that's really a meaningful scripture for me.
My gosh, Carol, I love that. You made me cry. Thank you so much
Aww,
for sharing
I didn't mean
tonight.
to.
If you're in San Antonio and you are looking for a great outside workout, go see this amazing mom. I will be posting every amazing mom's information and what they do and how you can get in contact with them through this interview. But thank you so much, Carol, for sharing with us.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, you're beautiful, babe. And the next mom I'm going to bring on is going to be my beautiful Christina. Christina, are you there?
I'm here.
Christina is an executive assistant. She's a doula, which how many of us know a doula? And that takes a huge passion to have on. She's partnered with USANA, and she's also a podcast host with the Confidence Creators. So her and Stephanie work together. And I could not be more thankful that this amazing woman and mom is in my life. She's kind of shown me, because I have serenity in my life, and how to adjust to having an adulthood, and what happens when a girl goes to college. And she's just always there for advice and what I'm going to do with serenity. And I love her to death. Christina, could you tell us where you're from?
Yes, I am from San Antonio, born and raised on the South Side. Yeah, and like you said, I do have a college student. My daughter is 22, and I'm a single mom, so that's.
So you're an even stronger mom to have done this on your own. And I would like you to just dive into the tips of being a single mom, but also being a mom of a child that succeeds like this, but also, has her weaknesses, but she's a college student. How do we get through that as moms?
Like the common theme here is grace, and I'm going to try to get through this without crying myself, because every time I look back at my daughter and I's journey, we've been through a lot. We've been through it. I was a single mother raising her. She was very active, very, very driven. In a lot of ways, I feel like she was everything I wasn't. And that was, God's grace and mercy upon our life, because, I never felt like I deserved, such a wonderful daughter. And she made my job somewhat easy. I'm not going to, downplay my challenges or anything, but because she was, who she is naturally. And I like to, of course, maybe I have something to do with it because I raised her, but I didn't do it alone. I definitely used my resources. I definitely used my parents and my family as support. Even my friends, they've been there along the way. She's been blessed to have the dad that she has. Sometimes your dads and your moms are not your biological ones, but she was blessed, and we were blessed with, an ex-boyfriend of mine who kind of, he's still in the picture, 22 years old, and he's there, and so I can't take full credit. I will not ever take full credit because God and my family have definitely gotten me through this. But she's in her 4th year, and most of the time it's your child's last year, but Kristen has taken, a little different route, and that's okay. And that's part of my tips is letting go, letting them walk their journey. Once they leave to college or enter into adulthood, whatever path they may decide to take, let them go. And I'm not talking about like totally just, cut them off and that's it, you're done, because I don't know that I can truly do that.
You're never done.
But, just, let them go, because it's their walk now. And that's something because we've had, mostly spiritual life. I've always told her, like, this is your walk, and when your day comes, it's you that's going to have to answer, and when she makes decisions now, I tell her that's your decision to make, but don't forget, you're the one who's going to either pay the consequence or reap the rewards of the decisions you make now, because it's your life already. And that was really hard for me as a helicopter mom. I'm not going to lie. I was super involved with, everything that she did. I was there, at every practice, she was a volleyball player. I was always there. And I've spoken to this before, and I've said that I don't know that it's everybody's choice to make. Like, everybody has a different choice to make. You can either be there all the time with your children, or you can give yourself time, because your kids will still succeed because you're doing the right things for them, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, that you're super involved with them. Doesn't mean you're totally not involved. But the other thing, like, once they leave, like my daughter, I've been, again, super, super lucky in the fact that she's so close to me that we were able to stay in touch. But it's okay to stay in touch with your college students. Just don't do it too much.
Like, I felt like that a little bit. I was growing up.
Yeah, because they're exploring that, and you can't take that freedom away from them. Like, again, I mean, I could get like where it's, getting close to 48 hours and I haven't, seen much activity from her. And maybe I got like a very short text at one point. I will start to tell her like, hello, did you forget you have a mom? But that's because in our relationship, we've communicated that much. So at times when I don't hear from her, what I feel often enough, I do get a little like sensitive about it, but don't expect them to, like, don't force it. Let it happen naturally, because they will. Like, I don't know, for me, it just did. We fortunately grew closer as she got older, instead of her like going through that I hate you mom phase. She actually did, end up getting a little bit closer to me. The other part is that let them make the mistakes. Mistakes happen. Nobody is perfect. Your student maybe was an A student in high school, and now they're in college, and it's a whole different world, and they have other, responsibilities, other stresses. My daughter has worked full time almost her whole college career, but we also remind her like what's important. But it's okay that they make mistakes. Their behavior might even change a little bit. And as long as everything is under control and they're safe without you being controlling on, them, then, let them do it. Let them fall. And what I've done is like, just make sure that I'm there for her when it's time for me to pick up the pieces, because that's another thing that she's allowed me to do. And that's another part of that. Yes, they're still your children. Yes, they still need. And I tell her, she says, Mom, I'm grown. I'm an adult. I said, okay, well, when you don't have to call me, once a semester, and she doesn't do it often, so I won't, take credit or take that away from her. But if she says, Mom, can I transfer, $20 so that I could get me a pizza or something?
Oh man, there's many times where I needed my mom to second call. I was like, man, Mom, can you transfer me $20?
Or there's been other moments where we've had to, help her out a little bit more, and I'm willing to do that because I know she's working hard, so it's okay. But I do tell her, like, all right, well, the day that you don't have to transfer, $20, then you're an adult.
That's right.
But she works hard for what she does and what she has, and it's just, she's good with that. The other tip is, don't, if they're away in college, or even if maybe they left to another city, like, don't pressure them too much to come home all the time. You want to visit them, right? You want to be able to go over there and visit them. But you also want them to get the full college life experience. Let them get involved in activities, and some activities will have something going on the weekends. And sometimes, the holidays, of course, major holidays, she's always home. But, if it means that she's going to work, or she's going to be involved in something at school, then that's fine. I'm not going to be selfish about it. This is her college life. And I let her just, decide when she's going to come home or not. The other thing I also say is, give them the space. Give them the space to grow up, to be who they're going to be. They're always going to be your child. They're always going to be needing you, in a sense, because I don't think that, I'm 44 and I need my mom still. I need my dad still. But give them the space to just become their own person and be a listening ear. The one thing that I've learned is not to tell her, oh, I know. Like, if she's expressing her feelings, if she's expressing her stresses, because I'm not the one going through it right now. And I tell her it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be stressed. It's okay to, have anxiety sometimes about one thing or another. I let her have her own feelings, and I don't make them my feelings.
So I want you to know that I just took notes for Serenity when she's older, because I think as a mom, I'm more fearful of how am I going to deal with her when she actually is like, no, Mom, this is what I need to do. And you just set that example for me. And I admire you for your motherhood. I always have. I told you have a beautiful daughter, but you've just done an amazing job with raising. This is what we all hope for, right? As mothers, we get our children to the adult stage, and hopefully they go to college, or hopefully they have a good full-time job, and hopefully they will come to us as they get older. And I think that's what you display the most. Your daughter comes to you, she's getting educated, she's moving on to her future, and that just shows that you have done just an amazing job as a mother. But like you said, you haven't been alone. You've had your family, you've had closest friends. And I think that's more or less, me and Christina are real close, but I relate to you on that because my family is very close. I'm close to my aunts, my uncles. I go to my family for help, and that's kind of always been. And I look at Christian and I see me. And I look at you and I see my mom, and my mom is the most amazing person to me. And I think that you two have done a great job with raising daughters. And I look up to you and I look up to my mom, but I can relate to y'all to having similar patterns in the fact of how you have raised us, and I thank you for that. And I thank you for being my friend, and I thank you for being an amazing mom. And it brings tears to my eyes to see how well you have done and your daughter has done. And you're an amazing mom, Christina, no doubt with that.
Thank you so much, Felicia. The last thing I wanted to say real quick was just to, like everybody has said, give yourself grace. I feel like if you have a college student or an adult child, you've done your job thus far. They are adults and you got them there. They did, I think Alexis, she's probably going to go through this as she's raising her baby. Like, oh my gosh, am I going to, I don't want to say it so bluntly, but they're surviving and they're breathing every night, and you're putting them to bed safely, then you're okay. So give yourself grace, because, it's going to go by fast. And you don't realize it now, but it's going to go by so fast. And just, you got them to their adulthood. And so you did your job. You're good.
I think that's definitely all the moms that we have interviewed so far. Grace is so important to have for ourselves. So with that, in closing, Christina, what is your motherhood quote?
So this one I researched a while back and I came across, and it's out of a book called The Confident Mom by Joyce Meyer. And it's impossible to enjoy anything when you're afraid of failing at it. But once you know with all your heart that you really do have what it takes, being a mom can be a lot more fun. So, I mean, that resonated in me because so many times I felt like I failed my daughter. So many times I felt like we weren't going to get, through something, and we did. And I just decided to believe in myself. And I knew that I was created to be her mom and she was meant to be my daughter, and there wouldn't have been any other way to have it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
Thank you, Felicia.
And the next amazing mother, she works from home. She's partnered with USANA. And when I asked her in her description of her job, she said, with I'm not working with USANA, I am a full-time mom. So I'm going to bring on Fernanda.
Hello.
Hello, beautiful. Can you tell us where you're from? And I know you're from somewhere and you currently live somewhere. So could you tell us both?
Yeah, sure. Originally I'm from Brazil, but I grew up in the States. Most recently, I lived in Los Angeles for 14 years, and I am currently living in Naples, Florida it's been 2 years.
Wow, you have really traveled and got to experience some world.
Yes.
So, can you tell us how old are your children?
So my oldest, my daughter is 8, and my son is 5.
He's so cute.
He's hilarious. They're both really funny.
He is hilarious. So with having children those ages, what would be your tips for mothers out there?
Okay, so my number one tip is to encourage creativity. I, really want to keep them young and innocent and imaginative for as long as possible. So even like when I'm going to restaurants or whatever, I'm always prepared when I'm doing that kind of stuff and bringing, coloring books and crayons and toys or whatever. But I'm not giving them any devices when I'm out and about. So that's something. And they really play well together. They love playing together. So when they're at home, they're just playing with toys and just creating their own little world. Of course, there are devices every now and then, not going to say there aren't, but definitely keeping that creativity alive and making them imagine their own worlds and come up with games and do all sorts of things. And they're good at that. So I definitely encourage that. I don't overschedule them. They each do one other extracurricular activity. Olivia's really into musical theater. They were actually both in The Wizard of Oz together this past weekend. And Lucas also does soccer. So 1 or 2 activities, but not something every single day. I like them to have some free time. I think that, ideas are born when they have time to think and, relax and be kids. And sometimes I hear kids, just talking about being bored. And I tell my kids, I'm like, well, only boring people get bored. So if you're feeling bored, create something, come up with something. You're not boring, So I love to encourage their creativity. I love to, encourage them to play together and, remind them that they're each other's friends. And one thing I feel, sometimes, you have an older child, they're 3 years apart. And sometimes if I feel my daughter's getting a little bossy or something, I make sure that they're taking turns being in charge. And I'm, make sure that she's empowering him and giving him a turn to be the leader when they're playing. So just those are the kind of things I watch out for. Otherwise, just try not to helicopter parent too much, but just making sure that they're taking turns and empowering each other. We also don't allow name calling in the house. So this is something we learned actually from Brene Brown. I don't know if you've heard of her. She talks about, shaming and name calling and the differences with that. So for instance, they shouldn't say to each other that they are mean or they are bossy, but instead that they're acting mean or they're acting bossy, making it something that's not like permanent. It's not who they are. It's not what they are. It's a temporary state, and they can change their own behavior. So instilling that kind of a thing. And then I really love to ask, like, yeah, when they ask questions, a lot of times they ask the most random questions, obviously. But my favorite thing to respond is, well, what do you think? Because I want to learn more about how they think, what they're thinking. And usually it's like really entertaining for me to hear what they think anyway. But it's also very encouraging for them to, come up with their own thoughts and figure it out on their own. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. Or, whatever it is. So I love, answering a question with a question.
That's awesome.
And then 2 more tips. So one,
I'm totally using that. I had never thought about that until now. I'm gonna be like, well, what do you think? My kids are gonna be like, what?
Like, tell me the answer. Oh yeah, my kids are totally used to me not answering them directly. Like, maybe, I don't know. What do you think? And then, turning like chores and showers and cleanup time, all that kind of stuff, like into a game. We've been really working with timers lately. Like, we have the Apple Watches, and that little timer feature is so awesome. Like, okay, you got 10 minutes to take a shower, brush your teeth, put your PJs on. And if you get it all done in time, we get to, read whatever book or do whatever. So they really, they like the challenge of being able to do it fast, and then also like reaping the reward of whatever they get if they get something done in time. So that's been a big staple lately, is the timers in our house.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna have to use a timer, Fernanda, because for sure, you know what my little one asks me, why are we in a rush for? Because I'm like, hurry, let's do this. He's like, why are we rushing? I'm like,
I know.
Why we're rushing? Seriously? I just need you to go.
There's time, there's schedules. I know, right? Yeah, I know. The timers work really well. It's like, you got 10 minutes, go, see if you can do it. You got 5 minutes. And it makes it kind of fun for them. And then finally, the last thing, really the most important, is just to love on them and soak up every minute of how they are at their age, every cute word that they say incorrectly, how cute their little voices are. Because I'm already like insanely sad that my son's voice is going to change one day, because it's like the cutest thing ever right now. And just soak it all up, and one day you're going to miss them at this age. So just make sure you're really soaking up every moment with them.
I love it. And what would be your motherhood quote that you just love, or that you look up to during motherhood?
So a quote I really love is that children are not a distraction from more important work. They are the most important work. And that is by C.S. Lewis. And that picture you see right there is my parents. So one of the main reason we moved from Los Angeles here to Naples is to be closer, for the kids to be closer to their grandparents and to grow up around them. And, USANA has really helped us to be able to do that. And, Nick and I both, so I'm from Brazil. He's originally from Chile, my husband. So we both grew up in the States, like very far away from cousins and aunts and grandparents. And we sort of realized we were out in LA doing the same thing to our kids. So we decided we wanted them to have a better lifestyle and to be around their family. And it's just been like the greatest thing ever. So encourage that for sure.
That is awesome. I'm very close to my family, so I could not agree more, or how close my kids are to my family and my husband's family as well, and how much it helps to have us all in the same area, at least 2 hours or 3 hours next to each other.
Yeah, we have family in Miami, which is 2 hours away too. So Nick's mom is there and his sister, and so yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. And I totally look up to you and Nick. Y'all are great parents. I've seen you juggle many things. I've seen you also have fun as a mom, but also be a mom to the kids. And that's Absolutely. Just so inspirational to me. And I thank you for sharing tonight and just taking the time out of your day to be with us. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Felicia. And I really look up to you as well. So it's definitely reciprocated.
That's awesome. That's why we're powerful together, girl.
Right.
We will continue to be. The next amazing woman I'm going to bring on, I like to call her Jackie, but her name is Jacqueline. Are you there? /Jackie/Jacqueline?
Hi, Felicia. Yes, I'm here. How are you?
I'm good. Jackie, can I call you Jackie? I'm going to call you Jackie.
Yeah, of course.
Jackie, I first met you coming in the USANA business. Jackie is an account manager. She's partnered with USANA, and she's also a mom. And I met her, and she was juggling everything. And I just remember looking at her and thinking, wow, that's like amazing. She's juggling husband, because husbands we do have to juggle. She's juggling husband. She's juggling a child. And she's pregnant because she didn't get pregnant when we were in the middle of our friendship. And I was just like, wow, she's just so amazing. So, Jackie, can you tell us about where you're from and your children, how old they are?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Jacqueline, and I'm from San Diego, so Southern California. And my children, my oldest is 3, and then my youngest is 1. So just have a 1-year-old. Yep.
So you're actually dealing with having 2 kids that are like active at the
Yes,
same,
very active boys.
So how has that been in your roller coaster of momhood?
So it's been great. It's funny because I feel like they definitely keep me on my toes. For them to only be 2 years and 2 months apart, I was kind of worried, but you know what's funny is now they're both at the age where they play very well together. Early on when I just had a baby, I was potty training my toddler. So I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, we got to get this going because this double duty diapers was no joke. But it's fun.
So that's one of her tips. But what would be your tip? She's going to explain more. What would be your tip from this? I guess you have a baby and a toddler, right?
Yeah. So my biggest thing is, and my biggest tip, and I'll kind of just elaborate more, is to let go of whatever you think a perfect mom is. We look at social media. We have our own standards. We have the standards that our mothers raised us, or grandmothers, or just any of the women that we grew up, with. Kind of giving yourself that mentality definitely makes you a better mom. If you kind of think of what we see in social media, like I said, we, as women, we naturally will compare ourselves and we think like, oh, this person's doing it. How can I do it better? So something that I'm still working on every day is finding out what makes me happy, taking care of yourself, and then also taking care of what makes your kids happy, what makes your husband happy. Because if you think about it, like I said, social media will show you this and this. So, well, they're doing that. And so you're like, well, do I need to do that too? Because they look happy. So so part of my tip, I think, also having 2 kids is finding what makes each kid happy and what brings out the best in them. So my thing was, just having a really busy schedule with working, being a full-time working mom, being a USANA mama, running a business, and then also trying to find out time to work on myself and then my marriage. We schedule dates. And so I can just say, grab a planner, get your guys' sit down with your husband, figure out what works best for you guys, and schedule dates with them. And I know I kind of mentioned find out what makes each kid happy. So what I do is I actually schedule dates with each kid to kind of give them alone time with mommy, focus time. So like my oldest loves dinosaurs and Legos. So what I'll do is take him, to a museum date, or we'll go to Legoland. So, and that's actually not too far since I live here in San Diego, but something that, brings the best out of my baby is he loves bubbles and puppies. So we'll go to the park and blow some bubbles and watch the puppies run around. So find out what really makes you happy, what makes them happy. Because at the end of the day, that's why we're here, to take care of the kids and enjoy life. I know there's the hustle and bustle of grinding, but at the end of the day, if you made that date and, possible with your kid and made them happy, I think that brings out the best in you as a mom. And I know kind of just staying on that with scheduling dates, I think is important. Me and my husband also have date nights. We'll go and ask grandma or grandpa ahead of time, like see when they're free, so we can schedule something that we can maybe do on our own, whether it's going downtown or grabbing a bite or checking out this new spot. So that's something that we used to do. And something that I actually did recently in this past year was trying to figure out how to focus on also self-care. Because I kind of, us as moms, is we put ourselves in the back burner. We do everything to make sure the house is maintained, bills are paid, our family's taken care of, but sometimes we don't take the time to focus on ourselves. So something that I've been doing, kind of working on, this past year, is I actually started kind of like a self-date or self-care day. And my birthday falls on the 27th of November. So what I do is, okay, I can't do weekly, it's just not possible. So every 27th of the month, I'll try to do something to where I will schedule, okay, am I going to take a yoga class or a DIY class? I'm going to take a woodworking class, just to schedule for myself. And this is something that I work out with my husband. Obviously, he knows he's going to be kind of home for a few hours by himself. And whatever it is that makes you happy. For me, I love to run and being outdoor. So even, I was born and raised here in San Diego. On one of my self dates on the 27th is I actually will maybe explore a new trail or somewhere to run, because I love running outdoors. I think that's kind of like the best tip, I think, for having such an active family and all doing different things and loving different things. I feel like it's not forcing everyone to, oh, mommy wants to do this, we're going to do this. You know what I mean? So I think
you're that kind of awesome job. And I think I'm going to schedule everything on the 10th of the month, because that's my birthday.
There you go. See?
I'm going to tell
you're celebrating.
So, and you know what?
Exactly.
And seeing you run with these two boys is amazing. You are an amazing runner, and you're an amazing mom. And I give you credit for that. You're not just running with one, but you're running with two.
Yeah. And they love it. It's funny because sometimes I'll go for a run and we'll stumble against a park, and I'm like, oh, that's a new park. And so I'll let them play, and then they just jump back in and I finish my run. So it actually works out. They're outdoor kids too, so they love it.
That's awesome. I need to get the name of your double stroller that you have someday.
Yeah.
So, Jackie, in closing, what is your motherhood quote?
So I actually have two that's very similar. And so I'm actually going to quote Rachel Hollis, who I love, and, read her last two books. And her quote is, being a perfect mom is a myth, but being a pretty great mom most of the time is actually possible. So that's something that I love. For anyone who's read her books, you can kind of relate to that. And then the second quote that's kind of a play on that as well is from Emily Lay. And her quote is, I will hold myself to a standard of grace and not perfection. So those are my favorite quotes for kind of just letting go of whatever you think the perfect mom is. And then also giving yourself grace. Not every day is going to be perfect, or a lot of our moms, and for myself, I used to beat myself up on, oh my gosh, I didn't do this, and I had this and this and this to do, but I didn't get to check them off. So I was really hard on myself. So I've kind of learned to give myself more grace, and that definitely helped me.
Definitely. And you show that. And I can't wait to see you in August. I love you. I love you and the boys.
I love you so much.
And Reggie and me love you and Nate. Can't thank you enough for being our friends. And you're an amazing mom. Thank you so much.
Oh, you too. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored. When you asked me to join this, I was like, I don't know what I could share. You're doing it.
You just shared everything, and you gave me. I'm gonna message you later what you gave me.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take notes and that goes for every mom tonight that I have interviewed. I am just in total, I don't know what you call it, shocked, or just you know what? I'm in total grace tonight to know that I'm not alone as a mom, but to also learn from y'all that are moms. Like, it's so grateful. So the next mom tonight I'm going to bring on is Aneta. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hello. So Aneta is partnered with USANA. She's full-time in USANA, and I'm so proud of how hard she works. She has set a good example for everyone that has a dream to be an entrepreneur. She enjoys helping others, and she's a full-time mommy. And she has a beautiful family. So can you tell us where you're from or where you live?
I love to. So my name is Agneta. I'm originally from Romania. I grew up there. Yes. So I came here in United States at the age of, I was almost 24, till married with my husband. That was in Florida. And after 2 years, we came in Seattle, Washington. We're here like almost for 14 years.
You love it.
Yes, I love it.
So I can tell, or I know, and I can tell by the picture we're looking at, is y'all have like 3 beautiful girls. And forgive me,
thank you.
Y'all, because we say y'all in Texas. Some people say you guys.
Yeah, no.
How old are your 3 beautiful girls?
They are a blessing for us. God bless us with 3 beautiful girls, like you said, and it's true. So my oldest one, her name is Agnes. She's 10. Our second one is Selena, and she's 8. And our little one, she's 4. Her name is Darlene.
Hey, so you had them a couple. Well, the first 2 were 2 years apart, but then the last one was a good years apart.
Yeah.
And how has it been just being like having all girls? Like, I think
it's been amazing. It's been amazing, but also it's very challenging sometimes, especially when we have to leave somewhere. Yeah.
I can imagine that. Who's on the straightener?
The hardest part is for my husband, to be honest, because sometimes he's just kind of, okay, I'm just going and waiting for you girls in the car.
So he really doesn't have to shower or get dressed until the second one, or maybe third shower.
Yeah, sometimes, it's just overwhelming. But we're trying to, be patient, to learn how to be more patient. But it's been an awesome journey, if I can say that. Yeah.
So having the girls at the age of 10 and 8 and 4, what are your biggest tips to moms out there that have girls that age?
My first tip, I should say, no matter what age your kid might be, I encourage every mom out there to have patience, to kind of try to understand each stage of childhood. My oldest one, she's 10, almost 11. In August, she'll be 11. And I can see she starts a new stage. She's more sensitive. She's more delicate. I mean, this is a different stage of childhood. And I have to kind of be very careful with each one, because I can't talk with all of them and the same, you know what I mean? So that's why I encourage every mom to kind of try to understand every stage and talk with each other, separate, to understand and to give them that assurance that you understand them and you know the changes and all those things. You've been there, and so this is my first tip for every mom, to be there for your kid no matter what age.
Amazing. I can totally agree. And you've done a wonderful job with your children.
Yeah, I'm trying my best, and like the other beautiful mamas said before, there is this, I don't know how should I say, you always kind of try to compare with others, for, for us, like with others, with other moms. And it's sometimes, it's very frustrating, if I can say this, because the moment you try to compare, you see yourself like, oh, I'm not that good like that mom, or, and I love the person who spoke before me. Don't try to see what the social media says about, that and that. Every mom is unique and it's beautiful, and every kid is unique, and that's why God give us that wisdom to know how to talk with each of them, and to kind of understand. So yeah, I love that we're kind of connecting.
That was Jackie. You're gonna have to meet her.
Yeah, Jackie. Okay, yeah, there you go. Yes.
I'll make sure I introduce y'all too.
Yeah. My second tip is be the best friend to your children. They must know that whatever happens, have the courage to tell you. We have to develop that, because if we don't develop that, the kids, at some point will be afraid or don't have that, courage to, Mom, look what happened, and, it is what it is. And yeah, try to be the best friend to your children.
That is right on. That is
especially these days that we live right now, it's very important to understand your kids, to try to, because we live in different world. That's for sure that I was, living when I was a little one. So everything goes so fast, and it's just so that's why it's very important to let them know that whatever happens, you're there, and you're there for them, to help them. The third tip that I have, spend as much time as possible with your children. I know it's hard sometimes, and I'm seeing myself sometimes, I didn't spend as much time as I wanted today with my girls. And sometimes I feel that guilt, because like you said, Felicia, I'm a full-time with Usana, and while I'm cooking or, doing like something for my girls, on the phone, or, it's that period of time when there's a lot of sacrifices, and the girls are seeing me, Mom, I know you work so hard. Why do you have to do all this? And then I sit down and I'm trying to explain them, why I'm doing this. And that's why I encourage everyone, every beautiful mommy, to spend as much time as possible because that's the most precious thing that we can. And I remember when I was little, I mean, of course, I remember when my mom took me, in different places with my dad. But the most precious thing and precious time that I remember with my parents are when we're together singing or reading the Bible, or going and having fun, going to have, picnic, or, those special moments, that they're going to never forget.
You're right. And you know what? They're also not going to forget. You brought tears to my eyes with how hard we work and how they and why we explain and what we're doing. And I've done that myself. And, there's many times where I'm on the phone, like you said, and my kids are like, Mom or Mommy.
I know, yeah. And sometimes it's broke my heart because I have to maybe, okay, not now, just, okay, hold on a sec. Those things make me feel like, oh, why do I have to do this? But at the same time, it's for them. I mean,
of course. And you're doing it for them, and we're doing it for them, and you're doing an amazing job. What is your, and you made me cry a little bit, just and to know that I'm not the mom that's not alone, you know, why we're pursuing our passion and our goals for our family, because yes, we're doing it for us and we have goals, but the main thing is we're doing it for our families.
Absolutely.
To get better. And that's what USANA has done for us. And I hear you when my girls are like, why are you doing this, mommy? Because my kids are the exact same way. And you're an amazing mom. And I thank you for sharing that. And
Oh, thank
for
you.
letting me know that I'm not alone as well. And,
No,
you know,
you're
all
not.
the USANA mamas that are listening, or all the entrepreneurs, even if you're not in USANA and you're listening, you're doing the right thing and working for your goals. And I think you can agree with me, right? Like, we're setting the example for our children. We're setting the example for them. It's okay to dream. It's okay to have goals. And
Absolutely, yeah.
And the most important is you can accomplish this. And you're an example of that. And I thank you for sharing your story tonight. What would be your motherhood quote for your children or for you?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me. And it was an honor to share my little tips, if I can say.
They were big tips.
So my favorite quote will be from Proverbs 22:6. Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it.
Thank you so much for sharing tonight.
Thank you, Felicia.
So the next amazing woman that I'm going to bring on, she has been a woman of grace. She has been someone that I look up to, that I hope that I can raise my kids to somewhat be, and her kids are an example of her. Her name is Rebecca, and she is a IT director. She's also partnered in USANA, and she's passionate about helping people. So Rebecca, are you there?
I am here, Felicia.
Could you tell us where you're from and where you live?
I grew up in the small town of Hondo, Texas, about 45, 50 miles west of San Antonio. And I currently live in two cities. I work in San Antonio, so I'm here probably 3 or 4 days out of the week, but my residency is in Dallas, Texas. So then I travel back there on the weekend. So yes, it's funny because I do fly back and forth and sometimes drive, but I prefer to fly.
There you go. So you're catching quick flights.
Yes, quick flights.
So Rebecca, tell us how old, and I say children, but not really, I guess children. You're raising adulthood now.
Yes. So my daughter just celebrated her 37th birthday. And my son will be celebrating his 25th birthday in September.
Wow. So how did you make it this far? What are your tips?
Well, the thing is always, as all the other moms said, always encouraging your kids and believing in them and telling them and instilling belief into them that they can do anything they set their minds to. Raising them up in the ways of the Lord, taking them to church, instilling those values, because that's so important. And then just as it's hard as they start to grow up, because as moms, we want to protect them from all hurts, and we can no longer do that. And so it's learning how to change your role with them and walking alongside of them as a healthy, productive adult that they are, because they're no longer babies, they're no longer toddlers, they're no longer teenagers, they are adults, and you need to treat them as such. And my type A personality just wants to protect and still guard them, but that's not how they'll learn, right? Because we all grew up and we had to skin our knees and we had to be hurt. And that's what builds and creates a successful, healthy adult, is that we have to allow them to go through their trials and their tribulations. And if they want us involved, or if they want our advice, is learning how to be patient for them to come and seek it, not just to provide it just because you see things. And that's probably been the hardest thing for me, especially because I'm like a type A kind of person, right? I'm like, I control, I don't want them to be hurt, but you kind of have to let them go through it.
That's so true. You remind me of my mama that always tried to guard me from being hurt. And I was like, Mom, help me. She's like, well, let me give you my opinion now. But you're an amazing mom in doing that for your kids. And I actually have the pleasure of knowing both of your kids. And I can tell you, you have done a great job. And I shouldn't call them kids because they have grown into beautiful adults that are out there achieving their goals and their passion. And that's because you've laid the foundation and been such a good support to them.
Thank you, Felicia.
With this, what would be your motherhood quote?
My motherhood quote really comes from my great-grandmother, and one of the things is there's no bond stronger in the entire world than that of a mother and her children. She always said that no matter what life heads your way, if you're married, you're not married, that there's just no bond stronger than that between a mother and a child.
And Rebecca, you're an amazing mother and your kids are amazing. I thank you so much for sharing for tonight. And on behalf of me and the mothers that have shared tonight, we would like to wish you all a happy Mother's Day